You may have heard that it is important to have a short contact time when running. But what is meant by contact time? Why is it important? And how short is short? And how do you get a shorter contact time? I'll talk about that in this video, so just follow along. Let's start with what it is. Contact time is, as you might guess since it's in the name, the time your foot is in contact with the ground. And it is important for you to have your foot on the ground for as short a time as possible when running. Why? Well, there is a very easy way to describe why. This is an exercise that I also showed in my video how to easily become a more energy efficient runner. If you missed that video, here's the replay on that part. Please stand up. If you're not standing, you're on your own. Now start jumping up and down at this pace. You don't have to jump high. Small, quick bounces are fine. Is it hard? I certainly hope not. If this is hard, you need to train your calves a lot more. And also I recommend the video that I just mentioned, how to become a more efficient runner, which tells you how you easily can make this jumping easier. Yes, but I stopped jumping. Jump again. Jumping up and down at this pace. And then we lower the pace to this. And it's much harder. And then we increase the pace a little bit here, it's a little bit easier, and then we increase it again to small quick bounces, and it's very, very easy again. It may sound a bit contradictory that more jumps per minute are easier than fewer jumps. But that is how it works thanks to the stretch shortening cycle. Elastic structures in the body are pulled out and charged with energy, much like a rubber band. When the rubber band is pulled out, that's the stretching part of the stretch shortening cycle, of course, and then the shortening part where the rubber band springs back and gives you an elastic recoil, an energy return. And the shorter time you have your foot on the ground, the more elastic energy return you will get. It is easy to believe that it is the pace of the jumping that determines how easy it is to jump. That is how much elastic recoil you get. And therefore you might think that you always should strive for a really high cadence, because the higher cadence, it was easier than the lower cadence when we were doing the jumping. But it is not. It's above all the contact time. The shorter the time, the more elastic energy return. It will take a certain amount of energy to move your body up and forward when you run. If you don't get that much energy return from the elastic structures, you have to compensate with pure muscle strength. Since the energy from your rubber bands is basically free, unlike the use of your muscles, it's good if you have your foot on the ground for as short a time as possible, because that's when you get the most energy return. Think about how hard it is to run on a beach with dry, soft sand. It is a lot harder than running on the paved walkway next to the beach. And that is because you mostly just sink into the sand. You have the foot in the sand for a long time. You get no bounce. You're sucked into the sand. No elastic recoil in the sand, and therefore you have to work so much harder with your muscles. And perhaps not surprisingly, it's not uncommon for runners to overwork their calves when running on beaches on their holidays. They get almost no help from the stretch shortening cycle and have to work harder with the calves and then strain their calves. So how do you know if you have a short contact time or not? It is actually impossible to guess the time. If you have a more advanced running watch, there are models that can measure your contact time, but since you should always strive to have as short a contact time as possible, so even if it's already very short, it's just as well to always try to get a little better at it, to get a little shorter time on the ground. Your contact time is also related to how fast you run. The faster the pace, the shorter the contact time. An elite level sprinter has a contact time of about 80 milliseconds. And good luck trying to approach that figure on your running watch. And as an example of running on a sandy beach shows, you generally have longer contact time on soft surfaces. This is also why hard tracks are considered fast tracks at the World Championships and the Olympics. So how do you get a shorter contact time? Well, apart from the obvious of not running on beaches. Well, you can't just try to lift your foot faster. That is basically impossible, as I explained in the video with the very appropriate title, "You can't lift your feet faster to get a shorter contact time when running." Check it out here on my channel. There are several factors that affect the contact time. For example, I have also made a video about how much the leaning of the body affects the contact time, and that, contrary to what many runners think, you get a shorter contact time if you don't lean so much forward. Well, you shouldn't of course be completely vertical, but a leaning of 3 to 4 degrees is normally enough for recreational runners. If you lean more, which most recreational runners do, especially the men, you get a longer contact time. So please check out that video also if you want more information about that. But what may affect the contact time the most is where you put your foot down in relation to your center of mass. If you put your foot down too far in front of you, if you overstride and put your foot way too much further in front of you, the foot will spend more time on the ground than if you put the feet more under the body. Shorter contact time, overstride, longer contact time. And then the running will be this hard instead of this hard. And here's a short summary of today's take-home message. It is good to have a really short contact time. That is, to have the foot as short a time as possible on the ground. The shorter the time, the more elastic recoil, the more energy return you get from the body's elastic structures. And the more elastic recoil you get, the less you have to work with pure muscle power. A good way to have more elasticity in the body so you have a bigger energy return is through plyometric training like rope skipping or jumping up and down or whatever you can find here on YouTube. And don't lean too much forward. And don't overstride. Now you may be wondering, but what is the best way to learn not to overstride and to get shorter contact time and run as efficiently as possible? Obviously, through my online course where I go step by step through everything you need to know to be as efficient as possible, and you also have 2.5 hours of audio lessons as you run with me and my instructions in your headphones. Or you can just continue to learn more through my YouTube videos, they are free. I have referred to several of them in this video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out when I post new ones. See you in the next video!